Yesterday it snowed 3 inches, and today it's melting off and almost gone. What's the deal here? Well, it's spring. It's the middle of April, northern Illinois, and that's what happens sometimes. We get bunches of snow and then it melts off quickly. Now, a lot of people, when they hear the forecast for snow in April, late winter, early spring, they might be concerned about their landscape. And there is a cause for some concern on a few plants, but mostly it's not a big deal at all. The cold temperatures are a much bigger problem. The snow does insulate the ground and protect the root systems of plants, but the plants that are growing up right now are the ones we're concerned about. Crocuses have already finished blooming, snowdrops have already finished blooming, daffodils are blooming, hyacinths are blooming, bloodroot and hepatica in the natural landscapes are blooming. So we have a few plants that are blooming. A lot of plants like the peonies are up 6 inches, the daylilies, irises, a lot of other perennials are up a few inches. The trees and shrubs have a lot of buds that are coming out. The fruit trees are starting to bud out. So there's a lot of concern on some of those plants that are above the ground and in the air. And again, the snow is not a problem for those. So we really don't have too much of a concern we have these late winter, early spring snows. They don't last very long. They're very pretty. Now this snow yesterday started with just a light, fluffy dusting of snow, which was really pretty, and it was on the daffodils and things, and it was no problem. But then during the rest of the day, it turned into a very wet, slushy snow that landed on the tree branches and eventually would melt off and slide off and come crashing down and smashing some of the daffodil flowers, crashing into the pond, making pretty waves. But the bigger problem was that that heavy wet snow then on the daffodils would push them down and break the stems. So on those plants, we do need to just go ahead and cut those flowers off, bring them in a vase inside, because they're just going to be smashed down to the ground and not very attractive. Some of the daffodils will straighten themselves back up. Daffodils that are just in bud right now that haven't started blooming, just the snow is kind of sliding off of those, no problem. So really it wasn't any big deal with only a 3-inch wet snow. If you get a much bigger, heavier wet snow, that can be a problem on some of the other plants that will accumulate the snow on the branches because the buds are starting to leaf out, and they'll be able to hold more snow and they might bend over. But for the most part, very few plants are injured by late winter, early spring snows. It does bring fear into people because of all the things that we have to deal with snow, and so we kind of transfer that to the landscape and say, oh no, what's going to happen there? But really it's not a problem in the vast majority of the landscape. So next time you hear the forecast for a late winter, early spring snow, chill out and just enjoy the beauty of the snow.